important to appreciate that there are big distinctions, big differences in the reaction to my proposals from different communities. Let's first of all take the wider world, people who are not biologists and who are just wondering about the consequences of success in these ventures and whether it would be a good idea to combat aging or to defeat aging. Here, the predominant reaction is people have fear of the unknown. People appreciate that a post-aging world would be unbelievably different from the world that we know today. And in some ways they appreciate that, yes, there would be some good things, there would be much less suffering, because of course aging doesn't just kill people, it kills people really horribly. People appreciate that it would be economically very valuable, that when people could carry on contributing to society rather than consuming wealth by virtue of medical care, that would be good. But on the other hand, people are very scared about things like overpopulation or dictators living forever or boredom or whatever it might be. Now, these are legitimate concerns, but they are overblown. People are essentially abandoning any semblance of sense of proportion when they make these objections, because ultimately we're talking about saving lives here. We're talking about the fact that 100,000 people die every single day in the world from aging, from causes that young people essentially never die of. The question is, what should we do? Should we let people carry on dying just because we're scared about these social problems, or should we do first things first? Should we save the lives and fix the problems as and when they occur, or try to forward plan so that the problems don't occur? It seems to me pretty obvious that that's what we should do, just as we did 100 years ago when we discovered that hygiene could save infant lives. We didn't vacillate and prevaricate and say, oh dear, overpopulation might happen, let's not go there. We went and saved the lives, and we solved the problems as and when we could, and it turned out, in fact, not to be terribly hard to solve the overpopulation problem there. Everyone started wearing condoms, and here we are. But, there's this fear, there's this terrible fear of the unknown, and it's worse than that. There's this irrationality because aging has been considered inevitable for so many millennia. We just don't want to think about it. We want to put it out of our minds, and the best way to do that is to invent logically ridiculous, idiotic arguments for why aging is actually not such a bad thing after all, and thereby to, in some way, help us not to think about it, not to be preoccupied by it. And that made perfect sense while aging really was inevitable. But now that we've worked out how to get within range of developing therapies that might actually work, that pro-aging trance, as I like to call it, has become an enormous part of the problem. First of all, I want to point out that people in a world without aging will not live forever, because there will still be trucks to be hit by, there will still be homicide, there will still be infectious diseases. People will live a lot longer on average, but some people won't. And some people will live a lot longer on average, but we'll see. Okay. So I think it's very important not to use words like immortality, not to use phrases like living forever in describing what I do, what I work on. What will the world be like, however? Well, the big thing is that there won't be any frail people. So we won't be spending vast amounts of resources and time and effort and suffering on the last year or two of people's lives as they get elderly. That will be the biggest difference. There really won't be all that many other differences. There will probably be fewer children around, but not no children, because of course there will be a turnover. And I don't think personally that that's going to be much of a problem, but we'll see. There will be much more ambition with regard to the ability of technology to do other things. There will be much greater perception of the value of life. So I'm sure that it will be a much less violent world, both at the personal level in terms of personal violence and also at the national level in terms of wars and so on, because people just won't want to sign up to such stuff. Those are the main differences, I think.